No sound because I didn't click the unmute button. That would do it, wouldn't it? It's Sitsu. How are you doing today? I do have a second monitor in the form of a tablet next to me, so I can sort of see that. Also taking a look at the quality. I didn't set. I tried going through from memory and setting some things in OBS to work with satellite internet, but I don't think I did it correctly. So we're gonna see. Like for example, right now I'm dropping between 216 kilobits per second and then back up to like 450 or so, which is good. But I think the stream is like a little bit iffy right now, mostly because I didn't configure it properly for satellite internet. Which I do remember finding a video on that for, and I set it up. I basically set a bunch of stuff up. Was like, oh, here's all like the settings. I can do this all up on the Windows computer, which I didn't bring with me. So completely useless, right? And I didn't write down all the settings I did. So now I have to go find that video, watch it again, see everything, and we'll get it. We'll get it eventually. That looks pretty hard to see. You're here for the awful stream quality, not diesel. I mean, yeah. Okay, so perhaps what I should do is play more with the stream quality and see what I can do with that. All right, so you can't see OBS because apparently there's a button where I can click like sharing the full screen and I can just say ignore OBS, which is a thing. I do have my Mac plugged in, so we have power going, so you can see that I'm not doing something silly like streaming with no power. And now audio quality, how is that? I'm and keep in mind, I have this as a mic. You may notice that there's no cable though, if you can see that. That's because I have misplaced the cable and don't know where it is. So the mic is the integrated mic and the camera is the integrated camera because I also forgot to bring my. I'm a really good streamer. Audio is fine. Okay, so then we just have to focus on video. So output, I have output mode advanced streaming. Now video encoder I have as 264. I forgot to click the down arrow before we started, so I don't know what my choices are. Rescale output is disabled, but I think I'm actually scaling output. That might not be ideal. Rate control CBR bitrate 2500 kilobits per second, but I'm not getting that. Now, another big problem with this that I have right now is I'm at the edge of a Wi-Fi signal that's like way far behind me. And so everything might be a lot better once I figure out like if I can get closer to the Wi-Fi or if I can get plugged into it. So that's another thing. But unfortunately, there's people in the other house, and I'm not going to be able to stream over there. So I can't plug in an Ethernet cable. So that's unfortunate. Plus, I don't think I brought my Ethernet little USB to Ethernet extender anyways. So that's a thing. Now, if I change, it's interesting because so bitrate 2500, but we're not getting that. So well, 1258, 1158. It's like every once in a while it gets really good. Now, okay, CPU usage, I can change that to like medium. I don't know what the profiles are. Let me apply that. My CPU is 7.1 or so right now, so that shouldn't be too bad. Is there, oh, use a custom buffer size? Ooh, I can use a custom buffer size. So what if I increase the buffer? Wonder if that would work. So if I increase the buffer to like 5,000. I think that increases the delay for you. but should handle more drop. Well, I have 0 drop frames so far. I have 0 drop frames. We just have a lot of potato quality, which is, I mean, that's something we can work with, right? Now, stream settings in Restream, can I tell you? No. Okay, so Restream doesn't have the ability for me to set like a delay on that. That's unfortunate. I wish that I could. But you're watching on Twitch. Let me go try. Let's set the latency on Twitch to like super horrible. Or I mean super high. That's a thing, right? So I think that's under settings, stream. Oh, I have normal latency right now. I thought I had low latency, but I have normal latency. Is there anything else that I can do for that on Twitch's side? I don't see anything. Okay. All right, fine. I mean, so looking at, yeah, right now it's a little bit, of course it's very delayed on the the restream stream. I'm also watching it through the restream preview, which is not necessarily the best. Okay. I mean, I could turn the bitrate down, but I'm already below the bitrate, so that's not going to do anything. Custom buffer size may be helping. Keyframe interval. Now, I have that in auto, but I don't remember what I want to set that to. I can go. Don't think that the CPU change seems to have stabilized somewhat. Okay. I'm going to try even lower CPU. So ultra fast in a CPU preset, which might reduce the quality, but in a different way. Okay, I'm dropping, my low is like in 900s for kilobits. Okay, 890, 1500. Okay. 600 kilobits per second. Hey, but that's better than the 200s that I got a little bit before. What if I try like a 10,000 buffer size? Okay. I don't know how much space I need on my disk drive or disk drive SSD in order to actually support a ginormous buffer size. But maybe that will work. Also, I don't know if I need to restart the stream for the buffer size to take effect. It lets me set it here. So theoretically, you'll get some more slow delays on your end, but like then it should handle it when we get slower again. I'm not sure. Let's try this for a while and then we'll play around with it. So anyways, fun things. I'll have to do like an official announcement stream sometime for this, but I am going to be moving. I'm going to be moving more permanently to like sort of like this location. So right now, wife and I and the cat are all here. So I could go grab Zilby if we want. He might show up here sometime today. I don't know. He was sleeping in the other room, looking out the windows. There's many more trees here. There's much more sort of like life outside. So he seems to be really happy. Plus, we're close to Ranger, which is the dog that we were actually using in this course as an example. So that's really nice. I'm gonna hope that Zilby and Ranger get along together. But that does mean I'm gonna be going back to Denver and working out of there for a couple more a month or two or three, which does mean I won't have Zilby next to me. So we'll only have access to sort of like still images that my wife takes and sends me, or maybe she'll take like a video or two of Zilby, but we won't have everything. Which I know Diablo will be upset and sad, um, but it will be temporarily, and then I'll move permanently, and then we'll have Zilby again whenever anybody wants to see him. Okay, so ooh, I am getting over 2,600 kilobits per second right now. I think the buffer thing is working. Okay, this is good. So let me know. Well, I can keep my eye on it, but I'm gonna sort of start working a little bit on this. It's obviously been a week. We drove from Denver. I thought maybe like, hey, I can do a stream once we get there. I was dead. I couldn't get myself to do it. So let's jump into this. So seeds with diesel. So I guess what have I been doing? Scene database with diesel. Okay, so I believe we started this article, but we didn't finish it. I mean, I seem to have written everything here, so maybe it was just review this. Maybe that's all I need to do, which, I mean, if that's the case, past me was really awesome to me. That's great. Okay, so seeding the database with diesel objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe what seeding is, describe why we want to seed databases, create a seed program. Code. You can find the code for this lesson. Yeah, apparently I have the code all set here. So if we come over here, yeah, we have like run seeds and all the stuff. Almost as if I'm, did things nice for myself. What is database seeding? We sit down to code a new feature for a project. We reset the database and run the migration so that we have a clean slate. Everything is ready for us to create new features and get going, right? Maybe. Well, the database is ready for us from a schema point of view. Any data that we want to test with will have to be manually inserted into the database. If this is just needed once, then it isn't really a problem. But what happens if we want to reset and populate our database with test data for every feature that we work on? The answer is to seed the database. Some migration tools also come with something to automatically seed databases. Diesel is not one of those ORMs, but that's okay. It's easy for us to set up a program in the bin directory, which we can run on demand to seed the database. Creating a seed program. We'll begin by connecting to the database. Since this is a program that we run separately from the rest of the application, we'll need to get the database URL and use it to connect to the database. Okay, so we have our code there. Next, let's create the data that we're going to want to insert into the database. So going to want to insert, we can just say that we want to insert. That we want to insert into the database. Also, with the way that my camera is there, I don't have to have the dock. Let me move the dock over there. Full screen you. Not surprising. I am watching. The delay is. I should have started a timer for this. I think it's like 30 seconds. Oh, it might be longer. But it's okay. If we have a huge buffer, this protects us from any weirdness that we get with the internet. Okay. I still can't. Oh, whatever. I'm gonna assume that it's fine. I think that I can move this thing over a little tiny bit more so to give us more room. So I think I can go with 2. It's a little bit hard to tell because I don't, well, actually I can just switch over to OBS, can I? Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, next let's create the data that we want to insert into the database. We can do this with some const above the main function. While our species table just has an ID and name, we only need to worry about the name since the ID will be automatically generated for us. For the pets, we are creating the name, but also, wait, what? What was I thinking? For the pets, we are creating the name, but also associated with it. Okay, so for the pets, I think I was trying to say that we need to have the ID of the of the species. So when creating a new pet, we have the name, but we still need the species ID. In a brand new database, we can predict what those IDs are going to be. However, if our database is older or has had the seeds run and deleted multiple times, then the IDs may be unknown. In this case, the number associated with the pet name is the index of the species that it is associated with. That way, we don't have to worry about the species ID at all. We'll see how this works shortly. Oh yeah, because I'm going to grab it out and sort of like do that. However, I don't think that that really makes sense here. So, however, database is older. In this case, okay, so in this case, we can use the returned IDs from the create species function to associate. Okay, how about this? We can just use the returned IDs from the create species function. This means that the number associated with a pet name is the index of the species it is associated with. That way you don't have to worry about the species ID at all. We'll see how this works shortly. Next, let's insert the species in the database and get the IDs back from the database. Let's break down what this code snippet is doing. First, we create an iterator over the species to create array. Then we use the method map to insert each species one at a time and create a new vector with the IDs for each new species. If you've never used map before, it's a useful tool in the functional programming toolset that allows programmers to iterate over a list and create a new list with the same order, but the values will be whatever the closure returns. In this case, we're inserting the species into the database and getting the IDs back. This means that the created species variable now contains a vector of database IDs for each species. Okay. Next, we'll insert the pets into the database. Since we have the created species, we can use it to get the IDs for the species ID field. Oh, I went potato mode. Oh, but it came back really quickly. It came back really quickly to 1970 kilobits per second. Okay, I wonder if I ran out of buffer. I'm building it back in again. It would be nice if I could see what my buffer is. Is that something that OBS will let me do? It's like stats. I mean, I have disk space available, memory usage. And then frames per second. Uh, oh, frames missed due to rendering lag. It's only 6 out of the entire amount, which is essentially a rounding error to 0. But there's been no skipped frames due to encoding lag whatsoever, which is good. But my memory usage is still low. It's less than a gigabyte. I wonder if I can like give it even more. Well, the buffer is going to make it like really, 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 really delayed. So I could continue delaying it more, and then we're going to have multiple minutes of delay, which might be okay. That might be what we're going for. But I think so far it's still readable. Okay, if I full screen you, what do you look like? Can I full screen you? I cannot. Does everything look okay if you full screen it, or is it fuzzy? The preview window that I'm looking at doesn't let me do that. Let me open it on Twitch. I think most of you are on Twitch, right? Okay, yeah. Full screen seems okay. I like this. Or at least I'm okay with it. It will last me until I can like build a new PC and then we go from there. Although, let's see, that potatoed a little bit. But it recovers pretty quickly. So that's good. I wonder if I should try to use more bandwidth. Most of the time I'm under it, but every once in a while I get up there, and then that obviously helps out a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and close that preview so I'm not using too much. Okay, let's continue on. Next, we'll insert the pets into the database. Since we have the created species, we can use it to get the IDs for the species ID field. Okay. Note that this time we're using the for each method to iterate over each pet to create, since we don't care about the return value of any of the pets. Let's run this code. Okay. Not super interesting, but that's because we didn't print anything to the console to give ourselves feedback. We can connect into the database directly and run a SQL query to get the pets and their species to make sure that everything is working as expected. And there we have it. Our database now has data in it and is ready for us to write whatever feature we were going to work on. All right. Let's buffer close you and mark you as done. Okay. So that's seeds with diesel. Let's also okay. So when I change things, oh, I have to wait for so long to see it on my preview. I'm wondering if I like do big movement and change things, that causes things to be worse, or if that's not what the problem is and it's just the internet, which in that case it should be fine because once I send the rendering stuff over, everything's okay. I would imagine it should be fine, especially with the buffer size we've got. But okay, let's move on. Let's move on to this one. Bulk inserts with diesel. You think it's just the internet, not the changes? Yeah, I mean the 99.99% chance that's correct. Yeah, and I've been pleasantly surprised every time that I come back here. The internet has gotten better. So, and if your clock is correct, you timed it at 45 seconds delay. If I compare the clock to my phone, which I know, I mean, they're both coming from Apple-based things. So, like, can I actually see? Oh, I don't see seconds. I mean, okay, so, I mean, I think it's right. But 45 seconds isn't horrible. So I was watching a streamer a few years ago, who ended up using cell internet for his streaming. And uh, he got things working really well. And every once in a while, there's a little tiny bit of potato quality. But I think he had something like potentially a minute plus delay, so he couldn't interact with chat at all, which is unfortunate. But it's sort of like unfortunate when that happens. But you know, it's a thing. Um, but also like it's we'll deal with it. Um, I think what's interesting. Well, no, because you wouldn't see it. So it's like, oh, you could watch it on like Discord. I should try a Discord stream sometime to see if like it does something different with encoding, but it's still going to be the internet in the end. Okay, so back to you. Bulk inserts. So I want to touch diesel bulk inserts. Not RS. MD, please. Xanther, hello. How are you doing today? Good to see you live. Have you considered using any GUI frameworks of Rust for any projects like Tori or Daxis? Which is the best to start using? So I have considered both of them. Both of those are on my list to sort of like do more deep dives into. Right now, I would argue that the GUI frameworks that I have used are U and a little bit of Leptos. And I don't know if you would counter like if you counter. I don't know if you would count like a TUI framework, but I've used Anathema a bunch, and I actually really like Anathema. ToggleBit is working on it, and is there's like one or two things that he needs to do to make it so that we can write a component library and do some really cool things. Plus, I've been talking to uh, a ex coworker who is a well both friend and also a UX designer, and so I was talking to him about what are like the bare minimum components that one would need to basically make a component library that's also usable. I was thinking about I can use that to dive deep into these frameworks, right? Because like if I dive deep into Daxis, Daxis is a web framework, right? It competes with Vue and Leptos. But anyways, like think of Daxis, Leptos. Um, Tori is different because I can use any web framework with that. So I could even just use Vue with that one or React if I wanted to. I know that CJ from Coding Garden used Tori for that. Uh, I also know that he wasn't super thrilled with it. He's not the biggest fan of Rust. And then yeah, then it would basically is like that could be like a little micro course or just like hey a nice little challenge thing to do. So short. That's a long way of saying yes. I have considered those, and I would love to work on them. Again, for everybody who is late showing up here and haven't seen before, this is a test internet. And we are delayed by 45 seconds, it sounds like, for me reading chat. So if you do have a message, just be patient. I'll get to it eventually. It might take a while. And so there'll be that sort of going back and forth where I'll just keep on working while you have a reply for that because You probably don't want me to just sort of sit here and stare at the camera into your soul for 45 seconds waiting for a reply. And that's actually just until you hear my message. Then you have to think of a reply, type it. Yeah, we don't want to deal with that. That's too much. Okay, let's continue in. Also, on my Mac, I don't have any of the overlays that I set up previously. So we have nothing on, what is it called? I have nothing on like the chat. You can't see both the chats. I can see both the chats. So sorry about that. I think as the week goes on, I'll like improve things and get it better. Okay, let's do this. Bulk inserts with diesel. Objectives. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, you will be able to bulk inserts use transactions when you're doing it. Now, as somebody reminded me on my other lesson, it wasn't really a lesson. It was like sort of like a short, but not really a short, if you know what I mean. It was just shorter form, offline only content that I did previously. Transactions aren't like, bulk transactions aren't the only transactions. Transaction, like every time you use the database, there is a transaction. Just oftentimes the transaction begins and ends with the one thing that you do, which is great, but also not necessarily what we want. So we should probably have a describe what transactions are. Describe why we want why bulk. So why bulk inserts are good, are like why we want bulk inserts, why we might want to bulk insert, and then obviously do the thing. So insert many items into the database in one transaction. And I think that's it. Okay, so let's jump in here. We want, let's see. Enter many items into the database in one transaction. Okay, we're good with that. All right, so maybe we just sort of, we'll jump into like what bulk is. So like, so far we've focused on single. Do I want to use the word transactions? Probably not. Single actions, maybe, with the database. As in, we're inserting one item, updating one item, and deleting one item at a time. This is perfectly fine most of the time, especially if we aren't affecting too many rows in the database at once. However, we might run into an issue when we have many items that we want to mutate in the database at once. Let's take our seeds. Okay, let's take our seeds, for example. For the case of, okay, so How many seeds do we have? We have 3 species and 4 pets. So for the case of okay, so let's take our seeds for example. We're inserting 3 species and 4 pets. This isn't too much, so seems to run really fast. However, imagine if we wanted to insert hundreds of species and or pets. This could slow down our system. Slow down our program, really. It's not our system. Slow down our program significantly since we are in a sync loop while running this code. Does transactions use rollback and failure like MySQL does? Is it the same in Postgres? Yes, it is. That's one of the other reasons why we might want to use transactions, because hey, if there's a failure, the rollback will be really nice. So absolutely, that is very true. It will roll back if there is a problem. Now in our code here will auto complete the transaction, which is nice, but there is a timeout also. So if you ever do manual transactions or you like forget to close the transaction after X amount of time, which I want to say is 30 minutes, and I think it's going to be dependent upon configuration files and settings and which database you're using. There's a lot of sort of like well, configurations about that, a lot of customizations. So like mileage will vary. It will just auto fail it at that point in time. So things to be aware of. Like you can't just start a transaction, walk away, go have like lunch, dinner, come back the next day and continue the same transaction. It will not be happy with you. Okay, this could slow down our program significantly since we're in a sync loop while running this code. Enter transactions. We could still have the loop, but only send the I think it's only send the insert to the database. I'm just suddenly now realizing I wonder if Diesel actually is going to save us time on this. Can I I wonder if we want, can I like actually do this and like make this be like 1,000 items? Do I have a test? I don't think I have a test database set up for this thing here. But now I wonder, how would I test this? Okay, so if I pull in, I think it's that far. Yeah. If I pull in rand, I could add a random number to the end of these. And then add in like 1,000. I probably don't want to do 1,000,000 or something else. Chantilly, hello. How are you doing today? Yeah, okay. So probably don't care about creating like 1,000,000 pets, but we can create 1,000,000 species. You're doing pretty good. That was fast. Let's see. You said happy. That was like 20 seconds. Okay. So I think everybody's getting slow. Like it gets slower and slower as you're watching, or maybe you joined in when it was like at a fast point of time. The stream quality is actually pretty decent, but we are getting a little bit of a like every once in a while we get potato mode, but then it buffers, and so the delay gets longer. But that's fine because it's only potato mode for like a second, and then it recovers, and so everything seems to be fine so far. Okay, so decision times. What I'm worried about is that Diesel still does things in a loop when bulk inserting, which means that the only true benefit of a transaction is the rollback capability. I wonder, let's go just take a look at the documentation for Diesel and just see what, maybe they'll just tell us what the benefit is. So do you have, so all about inserts. So I care about inserts. Maybe you can do a bulk insert / transactions in here somewhere. Let's see, insertable. I wish that there was batch insert. If we want to insert more than one row at a time, we can do that by passing a vec or slice of any of the forms used above. Keep in mind that you're always passing a reference here. On backends that support the default keyword, what's all backends except SQL. Wait, SQLite doesn't support default? Okay, going to lurk. Well, thanks for stopping by, Chantilly, and have a great day. Wait, SQLite doesn't support default keyword? I think it's more of like it ignores the default keyword, right? I remember like SQLite has some weird limitations of what it can do, but don't ever let that stop you from using SQLite. SQLite is an amazing database, especially for like what it does. I wouldn't use it for like, the production big database, but if you're running like a Tori app locally, SQLite is perfect for that. Okay, the data will be inserted in a SQL query. On SQLite, one query will be performed per. Oh, SQLite won't do transactions. Oh, that's what it's trying to say. Okay, I just need to finish the sentence. For example, if we want to insert 2 rows with a single value, we add just a vec of that, okay? Which generates the following SQL. Insert into users, name, values, 1, 2. If we want to use default for some of our rows, we can use an option here. Oh, okay, so this means it will be faster because it is one transaction that is sending it. It's not going to send it per loop and then set that up. Okay, so we are good here. I am going down the right path. So enter transactions. We can still have the loop, but only send the insert to the database. But only send the insert to the database after all of the after we send the entire list. But the way it works is all of them at one time because we just send it a vector. So take our Caesar over. This isn't too much. It runs really fast. Imagine if we wanted to insert hundreds of species in our pets. This could slow our program signals. Enter transactions, or do they call them bulk or batch, as Diesel calls it. We could still have the loop, but only send. Okay, so as Diesel calls it, we send a vector. We send a vector of our species, and Diesel will use a single single command to insert all of the items. Okay. Since this also means a single transaction for all of the items. This is important because of, okay, so however, so let's enter batch, enter batching. How about that? So enter batching. We send a vector of our species, and Diesel will use a single command to insert all of them. This to all of the items. Okay, so how do I wanna put this? So this will increase the speed, or no, wait, increase the speed. This will decrease the speed. Not all numbers going up are good. So this will decrease the speed of our commands, especially when we are batching a lot at a time. I wonder, is there also a transaction thing that I can do and do like multiple things? Like one thing, you could do a transaction where it's like a multiple things at once, where it's like, okay, I'm going to start a transaction, insert like species, insert pets, delete some pets, do some other stuff, end the transaction. That would be nice also. We should take a look to see if we can do that. Okay, so this will decrease the speed of our commands, especially when we are batching a lot at a time. There is another benefit. Okay, so there's another benefit, which is that the batched insert will be in a single transaction. This means that, oh, okay, I should probably just say like transactions are. So transactions are, what do I want to say for this? Transactions are what am I thinking? My brain just completely went blank. Transactions are transactions. That's not helpful at all in any capacity whatsoever. How did I say it before? Because we did transactions before. Transactions are states Okay, now I want to just go look at Postgres. Let's just look at what they call a transaction. What do you call a transaction? Transaction isolation? Set transaction? Okay. I believe they use the word begin and Postgres to start one. And then if this doesn't work, We'll skip Postgres documentation and we'll switch to something else. Start a transaction block. Okay, great. But begin initiates a transaction block, that is, all statements after a begin command will be executed in a single transaction until explicit commit or rollback is given. Okay, that's great. Oh yeah, and here statements are executed more quickly in a transaction block too, which is a different thing, but that's on the database side of things as opposed to the code side of things. Okay, so transactions. But this doesn't really have a good definition of transaction itself. So I don't really like this. Okay, I want to go SQL transaction definition. Oh, maybe Wikipedia has something. It's interesting here. Scott, hello. How are you doing today? Um, Duck Assist. I haven't seen this before. A SQL transaction is a sequence of operations performed as a single logical unit of work, ensuring that either all operations are completed successfully or none at all. I like that. That's a little bit better. You come from tutorials books. Oh, okay. So it grabbed it from both of these and probably used an LM to summarize it. Wikipedia here, however, says a database transaction symbolizes a unit of work performed within a database management system against a database that is treated in a coherent and reliable way. Hi, Zilby. You wanna say hi? Oh, let me grab Zilby. See if he wants to say hi. Zilby, hi. Here we go. I don't know how long Zilby will hang out with us. Not long at all. He's I do have, I don't know if you can see this. He's on a chair behind me. So he is close by, if that helps. The sound of a cat dashing across the room. Yeah, exactly. But in this case, he's just gonna hang out next to the windows and look outside. Okay, so a database transaction symbolizes a unit of work performed within a database management system against a database that is treated in a coherent and reliable. So that's why I don't like Wikipedia. It tries to be so sciencey. I don't like it. It's like it's too much on the database transaction side. It's a little bit better here, but I also don't want to use the word acid in this course. I don't know. I do like the idea of a unit of work. So let's come back here. There's another benefit. There is another benefit, which is that the batch insert will be a single transaction. Transactions are a single unit of work. As in, all of the inserts will be in will be done before committed to the database. This has some speed, some performance benefits. but more importantly, has some security. Security is not the right word for this. Some quality protections, some failure protections. Some failure protections. Oh, that theme doesn't look like Heisenberg. Oh, did you do Heisenberg? Okay, I don't have my Twitch thing open. So hold on, let me open it over here. I saw the word Heisenberg. Was that a refund redo of Heisenberg? Okay, if that was, then we'll switch over to it. Where's my Twitch? Let me open up my dashboard. Yes, yes, yes. I proceed to that. Stop. I don't like the new app. It just drops me into watching streams, which I want to look at my stream manager. Yeah, change your Helix theme. Okay, where's my? Where can I see all this stuff? Mod? No, not mod actions, not predictions. Rewards request. There it is. Okay. It's taking a little while for it to load that up, but let's yeah, there it is. Okay, got it. I now have that up so I can actually see when you do that. So let's go ahead and change that. So let's do theme. Ooh. Well, that's cool. Yeah. It's a nice difference. Let's see how it works with everything as we're doing it. We haven't done anything with code yet, but in Markdown, well, I think it's nice. Okay, so there's another benefit, which is that the batched insert will be in a single transaction. Transactions are a single unit of work, as in all of the inserts will be done before committed to the database. This has some performance benefits, but more importantly, has some failure protections. If any of the inserts fail, then the database will roll back to before the transaction started. Ooh, that could be misinterpreted. So then the database won't update, because if, let's say, we have 100 different people using the app and hitting it, one person does a bulk insert, everybody else is doing inserts, and one of them fails, it's like not going to undo other people's work. It's just not going to apply the work that you did. So the database won't update, won't do a partial update, a partial insert. It will only insert on complete success, which is nice. Okay, so Heisenberg works pretty good with code. Nice. Well, I mean, so far I'm liking it pretty well. Like this is pretty like high contrast. Like it, can see it pretty well. Everything is really. Oh, my previews froze. Oh, that's cool. Hold on. Can I like tell it to refresh? If I do that, I wonder if I lose chat history. But it doesn't matter. I know what you're all saying. I do lose chat history, but I'm now up to date and actually can see what you all are. I can see what you're all seeing now instead of just frozen from half an hour ago. Okay. Describe one bulk insert many items in the database in one transaction. Okay, so far we've focused on the single actions within the database. Okay, so this is good. There's another benefit, all the fun stuff. Okay, so what do we have up here? So describe what transactions are. So we have that. So this is more of like what batch inserts are. Describe why we might want to batch insert, insert many items into the database at the same time. Okay. Or actually, this one might be okay for me to say in one transaction. Because I do talk about transactions down here. Okay, so that's it. So let's go and actually do some code for this. Oh, this is a different theme. So let's update you. Heisenberg, right? Okay, everything is there. I'm a little bit worried about the variable names being visible on Twitch. Let me know how those look. Besides that, everything is still very visible and nice to see. At least easy to see. That might be the right way to put it. Okay. So let's try. Is subdued darker green for the variables? Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Which for me, not too bad. I can see the difference between like the let and a database URL, like for example here, pretty easily. So it works. It works for me in this terminal on this screen. I'm not like 100% sure I'm gonna keep it forever, but for right now, I'm happy. I'm happy enough with it. Okay. What was I gonna do? We're gonna switch over to using a batch insert instead of this. So we're going to, instead of mapping with this, we're going to map to a species to create and then pass that in all at once. And then we should get the IDs back, which means that I want to, what is it? It's pet queries? Pet queries. So we have an create pet, and I probably want to batch create pets. What do you have here? You have, oh yeah, you have DB. You have DB and then name and species ID. So if I see, oh, we're gonna want one for species ID first. Let's do species ID first. So create species. Ooh. One thing I would love to about this theme is if this was more like a comment. That kind of makes it look like it's the same as everything else here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Pub function batch create species. Okay, so we're going to take in DB, and I think we take in a vec. So this is the species to create, and you're going to be a slice of, is it called like species? Oh, it's called create species, but you're that. Result, and I want you to be a vec of U32, I think. And then let's see, what did I do before? So we do let species, create species. So I create the species there, but now we have this already. So I just want to do insert into. Okay. So we do it slightly different here. So instead of using more of the ORM type thing, we can just say like use um actually do we have this? It's like species. Oh, I lost species here. Um species to create. Species DSL insert into. Isn't that right? Species DSL insert into. It's interesting that it's insert into that one where it's coming from that one. That's too bad. So into is the species table, right? So species table values. And that is just the vectors. That's our, wait a second. Okay. You're not, okay, so your own species there, it's like that. Species to create, execute, execute, I don't want execute. We want returning species, ID. Then run query, get results, DB. Context, context is batch inserting species. Okay, and that should do it. What are you upset about? Cannot find function insert into, not found in species DSL. Okay, so is there something we need to do to make it see that? I guess also I could try running it to see if it's a, what is it called? Um, what is the name of the thing? It's, I forgot the language server name. Rest Analyzer. If it's a Rest Analyzer problem or something else. Because who knows? Maybe it's one of those things. Is that not in from the prelude? Well, I'm bringing it in directly here. One would think that it's fine, right? Can't find you. And I do have prelude in here too. Now, is this just a diesel insert into maybe? Because like I'm going off of here, schema users DSL. Oh, you're going to from name. Okay. So it's probably diesel. Okay, so it's probably diesel insert into. That's probably what it is. I probably already have this in here. Oh, no, it doesn't know this. Import. Oh, it's just. It is diesel insert into. Like that. Okay. That being said, cannot deserialize a value of the database type integer as U32. Because you're gonna be a vec. Oh no, I don't have a vec of U32. How do you do? You assume they omitted most of the boilerplate they covered before. Yeah, they probably did. I always like the examples to like be fully qualified, even though it increases the code. It's just so much nicer because if you're using it as a reference, don't you want to like I don't know, I don't have to remember what the other stuff had. Um, who has memories? Memories are for others. Okay, so I think so. Technically, this works. Do I need this to be a vector? So what is this? That ooh cannot select. Okay, so not a vector. Turning species ID. Oh nope, stop. Go away. This is nice. I how do I turn that off? Uh, there. LSP stop. Okay, so what if I return you as just a tuple? Like that? Okay, this might work. So I'm returning a vec of U32s. We're doing a batch insert. Isn't this a tuple now of what I've set with the parentheses around it? Do I have to have like a comma in it to do a tuple? I mean, it seems to be happier now. I'm not getting an error. Oh, okay. A tuple with one element needs a trailing comma. I have seen that before. Now what? Oh, I forgot. I killed the LSP, but then I restarted it afterwards. But I may have undone too many things before I restarted it, so I got myself into a little bit of an unknown weird state. But yeah, I did kill the LSP, but I've restarted it now. It's running again. The trait bound integer single value cannot deserialize a value of the database. Okay, so it doesn't like the tuple. If I remove the comma, okay, remove the parentheses. Okay, so we're back to this again, where it's saying, hey, you can't do this because cannot deserialize a value of the database type integer as U32. Double check your type mappings. How would I get the return value of all of these things? Okay, insert into users values. Wait, get results. I don't see returning. Does that give us everything? Because I'm not doing a returning, I think I'm getting everything back. On backends that support the returning clause, we can get data back from our insert as well. On the SQLite backend, okay, yeah. We're not using that. Returning clauses for SQL. MySQL does not support. Oh yeah, to get back all of the inserted rows, we call get results instead of execute. Okay, cool. So I don't have a returning, and then what we're getting back is the full item. That's why you're yelling at me. So you're a vec of species, and I don't need this returning, and now it works. Okay, so that's it's simpler. It's simpler but less explicit, which I could see some people not really liking because, well, hey, it's slightly less explicit. Oh, potato mode. Let's give it a second to recover. And we're back. Okay, so let's come back to here. Okay, so if we do this, now all we have to do is go to our bin. Let's do our run seeds for this. So run seeds. Created species to create, iterator, we map species name, we turn that into a create species, and I don't need to insert this ourselves here. We collect this into a vec of create species. So this is now a species to, just call this species. And then we want to run this once, where we then say let created species equals what do we call this? Bulk. Can you find it? Bulk create species. Come on. Yeah, you're a, oh, it's batch create species. That's why. There he goes. Import you. Okay, so batch create species. We will context inserting species or seeds, question mark u, and then all you care about is a vector of, oh, the DB. What did I call this? Oh, DB connection. That's what it was. Which I think you already got set up, right? You are what I think you are. DB connection, and then our species to create. This is a vector, a reference to species. Okay. A value of create species cannot be built from iterator over a type of unknown. So hold on. Species to create is just a bunch of names. So I iter map species name. Kind of would be helpful if I returned this, wouldn't it? There we go. Okay. So now you're happy. So we have our species. No method named context found for enum result. Wait, really? I thought results had a context. Oh, I didn't bring in. Ooh, yeah. We're not doing error here. So really, this just becomes an expect. That's all we're doing. So, okay, so expect that. So now we have the created species. Mismatch types, expected I32, found species. So created species, species index dot ID. Hold on. So created species, species index. Yeah, isn't it dot ID? The type species cannot be indexed by USI, by reference to, oh, right, I still need that. There we go. Okay. We don't you. Okay. Okay, so theoretically this should work. Let's go ahead and let's try this. Now I have, okay, let's just erase the database here. So we have table species, table pets. So let's just this is delete from pets, delete from species. Okay, so we've erased everything. We have no more species. So excellent. So now if we run here, we'll do a cargo run bin. Do we have a seed? Run seeds. Okay, it ran, no errors. We come down here, table species. We now have our species. So all done inside of a single transaction in bulk. Excellent. That's what we like to see. All right. And let's do this. I'm gonna say like, hey, as the extra one, try doing it now with pets. Okay, so let's do code. Do third one like that. Code. Okay, so let's create a new okay, let's create a new function in the species queries or s file for batch inserting a new species. Okay, so then we'll have rs here. Batch create species. We're going to put you in there. And then, okay, so we're going to take in the DB. And then the big difference here is that we have the species to create. And then we'll do that one in a little bit. Okay. The big difference here is the big difference in the signature for this function is that we're taking in the a array slice of a slice of the of create species. Okay, so we're taking in a slice of create species. Ian Contreras, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so we're taking in a slice of create species. Okay, that's good. And then, okay, we're also returning the full species. Okay, so we're also returning the full species struct instead of just the IDs. This is because batch inserts return nothing or everything. Okay. And then next, okay, so the insert itself begins from the diesel crate instead, or I guess we'll start the insert. We'll start the insert from the using the insert into, let's go find that. Keep on doing that on this keyboard. I'm used to like my other keyboard, which I think had a little bit easier, but I'm on the actual monitor itself, Which reminds me, now that I'm thinking about it, because the microphone is in the computer, is it really loud thunking? I don't have my headphones, so I can't listen to it without like a feedback happening. So I'm assuming that there's a pretty loud thunking whenever I'm typing. So sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so creates an insert into statement for the target. Okay, so that's what I want. That's not how to do it. That and that, just close the window. Cool. Glad I did all that work for that. Not too bad? Huh. Interesting. I have worked with like laptops in the past where when we typed on here, it was really thunking loudly. When I find the cable for, the nice microphone, then it'll be obviously better. Okay, so function into that. We'll grab you, put you into there. Okay, so we'll start the insert using the insert into function in Diesel. Okay, so we'll start the insert using the insert into function. Pass in the table and the values. The table, values, and use the get results method to request all of the species back after the insert. Okay, so then do this again. And so now we'll put this into here. These will insert into values, get results, and then context. Can't forget that we're handling the errors. Oop. One more word like that. There we go. Okay. All right, so diesel insert into values. Let's see. We've been handling the errors so far. I think it should be fine. We'll see what beta testers feel about this. Okay, so we have you. This is good. Values, get results, context. And then what was I thinking of? My brain completely blanked out after. It's like, hey, we did that. I guess so. All together, I wonder if I should just put the entire thing in because like we're kind of done with this at this point. So let's just use this. Much better. Okay. If you see me ever just typing V in, it's because the keyboard has the command in a different location on the Mac than the external. I use a Windows keyboard. So the Windows key, as it were, is my Mac key, which is in a different location, and therefore I just constantly mispress it. It'll take a while before I get used to it, which hopefully won't be too long. I might have access to an external keyboard here. I might be switching to that soon, but bygones, right? Okay, so here we go. So there's our pub function, and then there's that. Okay, so now we can turn our attention to the run seeds.rs bind file. We want okay, so we want to update the map to Hey, Zubby, do you wanna hang out? Or no? No, he doesn't want to hang out. We want to update the map to return a what is it called? A create species instance. Okay, instead of just inserting the species. So now we can do that. That's where I want to go. Okay, so in red seeds, we have species to create. Okay, so we update you. There. Okay, so I heard Zilby jumping on something. But I think he's fine. Okay, so let species to create, iter, map, species name, create species, name, species name, to string, do all that fun stuff, and collect it back into create species. Okay, so great. Perfect. Okay, so we have you, you're excellent. Then I'm getting distracted by Zilby over. Okay, he's good. Okay, so species to create. Can you hear that? You might be able to hear that. Oh, actually, no, you can't hear that. Okay, cool. All right, so species to create, we do that stuff. Okay, so now that we have this species, so now we have the full species. We can what did I do? Oh, now we can do the batch insert. Okay, so now that we have the species that we want to create, we can do the batch insert. Okay, that's here. Ah. Okay. Remember though that the created species is now the full species struct. We'll need to update the pets to create. We'll need to update the pets inserts to get the ID from the created species. Okay, so then that's here. Oh wait, that's here. And specifically, it's just this line right there. And that's it. we should now be able to run the seeds, and the species will be bulk batch inserted into the database. Okay, that's great. We actually did run that, so I should be able to show this. What was that? It was here? It was not here. It was here. It was here. It just runs. So it's not really anything special. Like, yay, it ran without errors or warnings. Woohoo. Okay. So let's do a challenge. Okay, so challenge. Update the or add a bulk batch insert for, or batch create function for pets, and update the pets part of the run seeds file. Okay, and then we can just do this ourselves now because we know how to do that. So let's go ahead and run this ourselves. To the left, we have our pets queries, create pet. Okay, so we just do this ourselves. We can have a pub function batch create pets. We take in a DB, and then we're gonna have our pets, which is going to be a reference to a pet, or no, not a pet, a create pet, right? Create pet, there we go. And we're going to turn a result, which let's just have it be a vec of pet. Okay, and this should be fairly simple. Start with diesel, insert into pet table, values, pets, get results, DB, context, batch inserting pets. There we go. Okay. And that does it. That's all we need there. It's pretty simple. Like once you sort of like know what you're doing, it's like fairly simple to write these, and you can abstract away whatever like interesting things you want to insert together, and it's fine. So back to run seeds now. So I want to update you. So we have a creator species, pets to create. So now I'm doing this into a for each, but really I want to create this as a like pets equals, instead of a for each, we're going to map this. So iter map. We have the pet name. We have the species index. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. So pet, create pet. I actually don't need this here. We get rid of you. Get rid of you. We don't do the insert at this point in time. And then we collect a u into a vec of create pet. Okay, so now we have pets, which is a vec of create pet. That's excellent. And then we just want to do our bulk insert. So we do batch create pets. We have our DB connection. We have a reference to pets, and expect error seeding pets. Okay, and that's it. That should then work as expected. So let's go ahead and reset all these. So delete from pets, delete from species. Let's rerun this. We have some warnings, but that's okay. We'll just get rid of those. And now if we do table pets, everything is as expected. So perfect. Excellent. That's what we would like to see. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of these warnings because we don't need these anymore. So insertable. What is it? That one. And query DSL. We don't need you. Don't need you. I mean, it made things a little bit simpler here because we moved that insert actual code into the queries file itself. So there we go. Okay, excellent. So so add a batch and update the pets part of the run seeds file. Excellent. So I think that's pretty much it for this lesson. And we're good to go. Now, what I do want to do, I'm running out of time, so I want to end by like hard end by 10:30 because my wife has a stand-up at that time, and I don't want this week for myself to stream at the same time that she has a meeting, because I want like at least the first week that she's here to have like good internet for that, and then the second week we can maybe do some streams at the same time that she has some meetings, and we can like test to see whether or not the internet works well enough for that, because that will just change the streaming schedule and sort of like show what I can do with that. So I do have to end within 3 minutes essentially. So I'm not going to mark this as done here. What I am going to do is show that we have two things. So we have the review. So like read and review article. And then the other one that I want to do is check if we can run transactions sort of manually with Diesel. So like if we can do that, that would be the best. Okay, so with that done, let's go ahead and commit all this stuff. So git add, commit. Okay, so what have we got here? We have just basically work in progress, Diesel bulk updates lesson. So we're almost on that. I'll push that up. Okay, and then for you, you're pretty much done. Let's just go ahead and let's get commit. We wrote Diesel batch inserts lesson, and we'll push that up. Okay, good to go there. Okay, excellent. And then I think we're pretty much done here. So first and foremost, this stream was a test to see how the internet was working. It's well, pretty much like for most of the stream, after sort of like the beginning where we sort of like figured some settings out, it's been fairly stable. Like every once in a while, it turns into potato mode, and you can't read anything on the screen. But then it like stabilizes and it goes back. It gets good again. Now, like for example, right now, but like it recovers really quickly. So that's good. Now it is a little bit fuzzy. I'm not able to do anything like, super high def, which is a little bit unfortunate. So if I were to record things for videos, I would probably want to record them locally and not like at the same quality that I'm sending out to the streams. That would be high 4K. And then put those up to YouTube or however I want to do that. So that's, those are all just sort of things to sort of think about. But besides that, I think everything is working pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right now. The plan is to stream in the mornings when I can this week. So tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and then end around this time. And then if I can wake up early enough, I'll stream even earlier than this morning. Otherwise, 8:30, 9 o'clock my time. Yeah, it'll be a thing. So with that, have a great rest of your days, and I will see you next time. Bye.